Topic for today's session is valuation is not about numbers, it is about a story. Since the topic talks about a story, let me start today's session with a small story. Long time back, in a small village in the interiors of India, there was a man who was tall, 6 feet tall, very strongly built. Unfortunately, this person did not have any qualification. Since he did not have any qualification, he was not able to get a job. Since he was not able to get a job, he got frustrated. And one day he said that this place is not for me. I'm going to leave this place. So he started moving towards the forest. He kept on going and going and going and going and going. After a while, he came across a place where he saw few people were chopping trees. Now, by the way, I am telling this story to all of you only as an example. Chopping trees is bad. We should not chop trees. Rather, we should plant more trees. So he saw that few people were chopping trees. So he thought maybe this is the place where I can get a job. So this man walks to the contractor and meets him and tells him, "Sir, can you give me a job?" The contractor looked at him and he thought, this guy is so strong. He is 6 feet tall. He is so strong that he will cut so many trees for me that my EBITDA will improve just in one day. So he said, "Of course, I can give you a job. Can you cut trees?" And the man said, "Yes, sir, of course, I can chop trees. I can cut trees, no problem." So the contractor gave an axe to the man, and the man went to the forest. And lo and behold, on the very first day, he chopped 100 trees. The contractor was delighted because never ever in the past anyone had chopped more than 50 trees. And here was a man who on the very first day chopped 100 trees. So the contractor was very happy. Next day, the person goes to the forest and he cuts only 70 trees. So when the contractor came to know of this, he was little disappointed. But he said, "All right, 70 is also not a bad number. In any case, it is much bigger than the maximum which anybody has done, which is 50. So 70 is also okay." And he kept quiet. Third day, the man goes to the forest and he...
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Your voice is very low. Not here. It's audible.
Okay. So maybe I will try and increase my volume so as to make this better for you. Is it fine now? Is it better now?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, your voice is okay.
Okay, very good. All right. So the third day he cuts only 40 trees. So the contractor was furious. He called the man. He said, "What's wrong with you? Looks like you have already stopped working. You are on the first day just to impress me. You chopped 100 trees, and today you are on the third day and you are cutting only 40 trees. What's wrong with you? Have you stopped working?" And the man said very sadly, he said, "No, sir, I have not stopped working. On the contrary, I am working harder. On the first day when I joined, I cut 100 trees and I worked only for 8 hours. But today, just to give you the same output of 100 trees, I have worked for 14 hours. But I don't know, I could cut only 40 trees. Sir, I have not stopped working. I am working even harder than what I did on the first day." And now the contractor understood. He said, "Where is your axe?" So the man went out, brought the axe and showed it to the contractor. Contractor looked at the edge of the axe and asked him, "When did you sharpen it?" And the man said, "Sir, I did not have time to sharpen it." And friends, this is what exactly happens in the life of every one of us. We tend to become so busy, we tend to get so engrossed in our day-to-day working that we hardly find any time to sharpen our axe. And that is why I would like to congratulate and compliment all of you, as well as the RVO of ICMAI for arranging these series of CEP programs, and which of course are indeed very much beneficial for all of us. And these are the opportunities for every one of us as practicing professional, as registered valuer, to sharpen our axe. The topic that I have is valuation is not about numbers, it's about a story. And that is true, friends. That is absolutely true. And why that is absolutely true? Because we have so many examples in front of us. We've heard of Alibaba, Amazon, Flipkart, IRCTC, Make My Trip, Jeevansathi.com, Naukri.com, Big Basket, Paytm, Fresh Work, Uber Eat, Policy Bazaar, First Cry, InMobi, Yatra.com, Grofers, Ola Cave, Delivery, Lenskart, Urban Ladder, Pepperfry, Byju's, Udaan, Renew Power, BuildDesk, Pine Labs, Dreams, Rivigo, Ola Electric, Airbnb. We have so many stories. And what is interesting about all these stories? The interesting thing about all these stories is that most of these companies are incurring losses. And yet they are getting very handsome, very attractive valuations. Not only they are getting very handsome valuations, but they are also getting continuous fundraising. And who are the people who are participating with the funds in these most of these companies are professionally managed private equity funds. And that is the friends story that we need to explore. That is the story that we are going to explore in this program as to how is that when the numbers are not supporting the performance, the profitability of these business entities are not supporting, yet these companies are having very attractive valuations and very good funds coming into these entities. And that is what we're going to cover in today's session. A common question is why these companies are getting attractive valuations. I'm sure, friends, as registered valuers, all of you also must be coming across this question in your mind, and also by a lot of people who know that you are a registered valuer. They must be asking you as to how and why all these companies, despite the fact that they're incurring losses, how is that these companies are getting so huge valuations? Let's find out what is common in all of them, why these companies are doing so well in terms of valuation. So friends, first of all, what these companies are doing, that is what we need to understand. That is what we need to understand as to what these companies are doing. And what these companies are doing, friends, these companies are removing inefficiencies from the system. All these companies that we just talked about, all these companies are removing inefficiencies from the system. And remember, when an entity is removing inefficiencies from the system, that entity is creating value. And an entity which is creating value will definitely get the valuations. And as we all understand, that valuation is not on the spur of the moment. Valuation is also the future potential of that entity. So what is common in all these companies? Number one, all of them are removing inefficiencies from the system. This is what is common in all of them, and this is what all these companies are doing. And therefore, what is the message? The message is that if an entity, if anyone has to become valuable, what that person has to do, what that company has to do, what that organization has to do, that organization, that company, that individual has to create value. And how do you create value? You create value by removing inefficiencies from the system. Now the question is how most of these companies are surviving and able to raise fresh funding despite incurring losses. Let us find out answer to these questions also. And here, in order to find out the answer to this question as to why, despite incurring losses, these companies are getting good funding, these companies are getting good funding at a very high valuations, what is the reason behind it? We need to understand for this, what do you need to survive in a business? What a business needs to survive? Obviously, what it needs is cash. Unless and until a business got a cash, the business cannot survive. So what you need to survive in the business is the cash. And now we need to find out as to from where this cash can come into a business. Now we understand this cash can come into a business from three sources. Source number one is from the profit. That means the company, the entity is running its operations. From those operations, it is earning profit, positive profit. Since this entity is earning profit, now this cash which this entity is generating from the operations is going to give a long life to this business, and this cash will help this company survive. So the number one source for getting cash into business is your operations. Number two, where can it come from? It can come from debt. But remember, cash can come from debt for sure, but from debt, cash cannot come eternally. From debt, the cash cannot come eternally, because unless and until the business is making profit, nobody is going to lend money to such a business which is not incurring profit, which is not earning profit. And therefore, to top it further, if the EBITDA of the business is weak, then there is even bigger problem. Because if the EBITDA of a business is weak, then in any case nobody will lend money such a business, and therefore the second source, which is debt, if it is to be tapped, for that the business has to be continuously earning profit. Which is the third source for getting money into a business? And this is what we need to understand in the context of all these stories that we are talking about, that we are discussing. The third source is equity. Now, equity, remember, is risk-free for the business, but it cannot be an eternal source of funding. But what is happening in the context of all the companies that we just spoke about, in the context of these companies and many of such companies, we can see that equity seems to be literally an eternal source of funding, because all these companies, despite incurring losses, are getting huge valuations, and the private equity fund are already all prepared to do more and more funding. So the question that we must ask to ourselves as to why should somebody invest into equity of a company? He can invest into equity of a company only for two reasons. Number one, either to get ordinary return today, immediate returns today, or he will do it to get extraordinary returns in future. So why all these companies, all these private equity, which are investing their money into all these stories that we are talking about, is because all these private equity funds, all these funds are primarily looking for earning extraordinary return in the future. So they have a long-term perspective, and that is what is the reason as to why they are investing in all these stories, in all these companies that we are talking about. Now the question is, can anyone put money in a business without expecting the above return? The answer is no, obviously. So anyone, any private equity, any investor, any shareholder, any promoter, any owner, anyone will put his money into a business only when he knows that he is going to earn return, either ordinary return today or extraordinary return tomorrow. Then the question is, why these companies are getting fresh capital in multiple rounds, and that too from professionally managed private equity fund? The question is, are these companies earning profit today? Most of them, answer is no. Are these companies creating value? And friends, this is where the answer lies as to valuations is not about numbers. Valuations is about stories. And that is what is going to be my endeavor, to let you know as to what those stories are in respect of all these companies. So all these companies that we just spoke about, are these companies making profit? Most of them are not making profit. We all know this. Are they creating value? That is the question that we need to answer. And I don't know what answer you get, But the answer that I get is yes, of course, all these companies, without any exception, are creating value. And please remember, if a company is creating value, anyone who is creating value is bound to become valuable, And anybody who is bound to become valuable is bound to get good valuations. And this is the reason as to why all these companies are getting good valuations. And this is what I'm sure as we go on, it will unfold automatically. So these companies that we spoke about are either removing inefficiencies from the supply chain or bringing efficiency in the supply chain, thereby making life of the end users easy and convenient as he is getting the goods and services sitting at home and cheaper as well. And that is the value which is being created, whether it is IRCTC or it is Uber or it is Oyo or it is Lenskart or it is Ola or it is any of the companies that we have just mentioned, because all these companies are creating value in that fashion. And what is the valuation that these companies are getting? Unquantified value of this convenience and ease for the end user is the valuation of these companies, and that is their story. तो अब ये जो कंपनीज हैं, इनको जो वैल्यूएशन मिल रहा है, what is that valuation? That valuation is unquantified value of the ease and convenience which you and I or people like you and me who are using services of these companies are getting sitting at home. And we will understand now as we move forward one by one as to what is the story of each of these companies and which is leading for all these companies to get so huge valuations. And let's start with the first company, and that is Alibaba, Amazon, Flipkart. Now what Alibaba, Amazon or Flipkart, what these companies are doing? Now these companies are making life of the sellers and buyers easy by bringing them on a single platform. And that is the story of these companies. That is the story of these companies. And it is this story which is getting so huge valuations to all these companies. What is IRCTC, Make My Trip, Yatra.com, what these companies are doing? Now these companies are IRCTC, Make My Trip, Yatra.com. What these companies are doing? These companies are saving time and cost of travel for the consumers in booking the tickets without the need to go and visit the railway station or office of the airline company, plus making all the possible options and combinations of travel available on a click of a button. That is the story of IRCTC, Make My Trip and Yatra.com. And that is the reason why these companies are getting so huge valuations. You can imagine with the arrival of IRCTC, what is the ease and convenience it has created. Prior to IRCTC, if you and I need to book a ticket, needed either to talk to the agent and pay him, quite an handsome amount, or you and I needed to go to the railway station and stand in the queue and do the booking. Try and value of the time that you're saving of traveling from your home to the railway station, standing in the queue, coming back. So try and estimate the value of your time and also the expenses that you will incur in traveling to and fro from your home to the railway station. That is the value for you as an individual. And you can imagine millions of people are traveling every day. And just multiply this value with the millions of people every day and with 365 days, and then take the life of this company, whatever you may like to take, and then you will know as to why IRCTC is getting such huge and handsome valuation, why Yatra.com is getting such huge and handsome valuations, why MakeMyTrip.com is getting so huge and handsome valuations. And please remember, not only these companies, the story of these companies is not only to help you and me to get our tickets at a click of a button, but what these companies are also doing for you and me on a click of a button, they are making available to every one of us all the possible options of traveling, all the possible options of traveling to that location. You can decide which airline you would like to take. You can decide what time you would like to travel. You can decide whether you would like to take a flight before noon or afternoon or in the morning or in the night. Now, all that ease and convenience which is being generated by IRCTC or Yatra.com or Make My Trip, that is the story of these companies. And remember, though that is the story which is giving valuation so handsome to all these companies. Jeevansathi.com, Policy Bazaar, Naukri.com. Now, what these companies are doing? What is the story of these companies? What is the story of Jeevansathi.com or PolicyBazaar.com or Naukri.com? Now, these companies are making so many options available in different fields. Jeevansathi, of course, is in matchmaking. Policy Bazaar is for the insurance policies, a different kind, and Naukri.com, of course, in the job market. So what these companies are doing, these companies are making so many options available to the end users on both sides of the table. So just somebody who is looking for a bride, somebody who is looking for a groom, for both of them, everything is available on one single platform. And you can imagine what kind of options are available to you, what kind of knowledge is available to you in terms of making a selection, in terms of making a choice. Just imagine before Jeevansathi, if it was to be done, how cumbersome, how Herculean it was to find out the kind of person, this way or that way, that you were looking for, how difficult it was to find that out. Because of Jeevansathi, it has become so easy. How convenient it has become because of Policy Bazaar to purchase a policy, whether of life or non-life, whether of term or of medical, whether of two-wheeler or of four-wheeler or whatever actually. And likewise, same is the case with the Naukri.com. So somebody is looking for a job, with just click of a button and uploading of his resume on the Naukri.com, he makes himself accessible to so many potential and possible employers and vice versa. That is the story of Jeevansathi.com, PolicyBazaar.com and Naukri.com. And remember, and that is why valuation is all about, not about numbers, valuation is all about story. And this is the story. What about the Reliance Fresh, Big Basket, Zomato, Grofar, Swiggy and Uber Eat? What these companies are doing? What is their story? Why these companies are getting so huge and so attractive valuations? Is it that their numbers are leading to those valuations? And the answer is no. And why the answer is no? Because most of these companies are still incurring losses. They may be incurring losses, but they have a story. And what is the story? The story is Reliance Fresh, Big Basket, Zomato, Grofar, Swiggy and Uber Eat. What they are doing? They are offering a wide choice of eatables and groceries and delivering the same at the doorsteps of the end user. That is the story of Reliance Fresh, Big Basket, Zomato, Grofar, Swiggy and Uber Eat. You can imagine how much time one would need to spend, how much efforts one would need to make, how much cost one will need to incur. Whereas today, sitting at home, right, sitting in front of the computer or laptop, you are able to order whatever that you want to order without getting into the hassle of traveling to the shop and finding it out. And that is what is the story of these companies. That is the convenience and the ease that they are creating for the end user. So they are removing this inefficiency from the system. And since they are removing this inefficiency from the system, or they are making the system more efficient, they are creating more value and they're getting more valuation. What is the story of Oyo and Airbnb? Oyo and Airbnb, as I understand, are again incurring losses until at least recent past. Now they are getting huge valuations. They are getting huge valuations. They are getting good funding. And why they are getting good funding? Because they have a story. What is the story? The story of Oyo and Airbnb is that these two companies are making suitable accommodation for the users across the globe, suiting to their budget at the no frill cost. And that is the story. So today, if you and I needed to travel to Spain or to Mexico or to Brazil or to Jaipur or to Jodhpur or to Coimbatore or to any other place, the major worry that you and I will have is, what about my accommodation? And obviously, sitting at home, you can't do that. But today, because of Airbnb or because of Oyo, that facility is available to every one of us. And that is their story. And this story is resulting into the valuations of these companies going up and these companies getting so much of funding. Please remember, the private equity will always have a long-term perspective. Private equity, as I said earlier, anybody who is investing in an equity will have two expectations. Number one, he must get immediate return. Immediate return, he is happy with ordinary return. Number two, he might wait for some time. But if he has to wait for some time, that for that waiting, he would like to have extraordinary return. And private equity, they are able to see the stories of these companies. And when they see stories of these companies, they see value in these companies. And when they see value in these companies, they assign good valuations, and they are prepared to fund them. What about Quicker, OLX, or Car Dekho? What is the story? What these companies are doing? Now, these companies, Quicker, OLX, or Car Dekho, for these companies, what is their story? Their story is these companies are able to find the buyer for the second-hand goods and also the seller for the second-hand goods. Not only they are able to find the buyer and the seller for the second-hand goods on one single platform, and therefore they are making it easy for someone who is not in a position to buy something new, who is prepared to buy and satisfy himself with a second-hand car or any other item for that matter. So what they do, they bring such sellers and the buyers on the same platform. And remember, not only they bring the buyer and the seller at the same platform, what they also do, they also help you in finding the price discovery mechanism. That is the story of Quicker, OLX, or Car Dekho. And that story is resulting into huge valuations for these companies. What about Book My Show? What is the story of Book My Show? The story of Book My Show is the company is giving end users option to choose from watching a movie or theater in your city, be able to book the ticket, and without worrying about whether when you reach the theater, whether you would get the ticket or you would not get the ticket, or without letting you worry about going one day in advance, book the ticket, come back, and then again go on the second day. And remember, again, just think of that cost. Just think of the value of the time that you would have spent in going to the theater and booking it. So, and one individual. Now, this is happening with millions of people every day. Multiply, and that is the unquantified value which these companies are creating. And that value is understood by the private equities, and they can foresee that this continues for future. Then a time will come when the cost of these companies, because of the economies of scale, will slash substantially. So today what they have the cost which they are incurring on building the infrastructure, building the network. Going forward, after a few years, that cost is going to reduce drastically. But the number of users of the facilities of all these stories that we are talking about is going to increase substantially. And therefore, what is going to happen is the fixed cost is practically going to be zero or negligible. The operating cost is going to be there, but that operating cost, because of the large number of users, is going to slash to a very large extent. And therefore, with the revenue that they would earn from every user, the cost that they would incur is going to be minor, and therefore they will be able to earn going forward huge profit. And those huge profit will help them make for the wait that they have done for all these years. Last but not the least, then we also have a company called DMart. DMart. Now DMart, of course, is not in the IT. DMart is in retail. So what is the story of DMart? Now why is DMart? DMart, I'm sure when the issue IPO of this company was done, if I remember it correctly, the issue price was about 300 rupees, and I think in about 2-3 years back, the company came out with a public issue. It almost opened at double the amount. So 300 was about the issue price. It opened on the stock market at about 600, and today it is at 3000 plus. So how is that just in a span of about 3 years, the company has got the value multiplied by 10 times? What DMart is doing, what value DMart is creating. So if you and I have to find out as to what value DMart is creating, what you and I need to do, you and I need to go and visit any of the outlets or any of the stores of DMart, and you can see that all the DMart outlets, all the DMart malls are always overpacked with the people. There is always a long waiting list. And why there is a long waiting list, why it is always crowded with so many people, is because using the efficiencies of the supply chain, using the technology, using the economies of scale, DMart is able to sell the same product which is cheaper than the price at which it is available at rest of the places. And that is the value that DMart is creating. That is the story of DMart. DMart, of course, is making profit. Not only DMart is making profit, but DMart has also made Bharat Damani, the promoter of this company, also the second richest person in the country, as per the last count, because these positions keep on changing. So friends, these are the stories of all these companies, and we of course have taken some companies. Taking all the companies may not be possible, but if you analyze, you will find that same story applies to all these companies. All these companies, they are able to get so huge valuations, so attractive valuations. And why is that so? Because these companies may not be earning profit. And please note, these companies may not be earning profit, but these companies are definitely creating value. These companies are definitely creating value. And this value creation by these companies in the form of removal of inefficiencies from the system, of bringing efficiencies into the system, this value creation is going to get multiplied with the passage of time, year after year. And that is going to increase the profits of these companies. And that is how the people who are investing into the equity of these companies are going to benefit. I would also like to share with you, friends, some of the Indian companies who have done so well that they are already in the $1 billion club. And what these companies are, who are already, and remember, most of these companies are incurring losses. They are incurring losses, but they are already in the $1 billion club. Paytm, Oyo, Byju's, Snapdeal, Ola Cabs, Swiggy, Udaan, Renew Power, BillDesk, Pine Labs, Delivery, Policy Bazaar, Hike, FirstCry, Lenskart, InMobi, Dreams, Big Basket, Ola Electric, and Rivigo. Now these companies, these Indian startups are already in that $1 billion club. And why they are in that $1 billion club is because they are creating value. And how they are creating value? They are creating value by removing inefficiencies from the system. That is their story. Let me also share with you, friends, some numbers. This, of course, are for the FY19, relatively old, but just to give you an idea as to how the story makes more impact than the numbers. So if I talk of Flipkart, for the FY 2019, Flipkart did a total revenue of 4,234 crores, and the company incurred a loss of 1,624 crores. Yet it is getting good value. Amazon, 7,594 crore and was the revenue, and the loss was 5,685 crore. I'm sure this must be for the India operations. Paytm, 3,050 crore was the revenue, and the Paytm incurred a loss of 3,960 crores. Oyo, revenue was 6,457 crores, and the loss was 2,385 crores. Big Basket, 2,381 crore was the total revenue that the company earned in FY 2019, and the losses were 348 crores. So the list is long. Even though companies have incurred losses, but remember, earning profit is important. Earning profit is important. But if you're not earning profit and you are creating value and you have the potential to continue to create value going forward as well, then despite incurring losses, you will get huge valuations. Now the question is, and I'm sure this question must be coming in the minds of every one of you as well, will these companies be able to sustain it in long term? That's the question. And I'm sure this is a natural question which must have crossed the minds of every one of you also, कि ये ठीक है, समझ गए कि भाई लॉस कर रहे हैं, लेकिन चूंकि वैल्यू क्रिएट कर रहे हैं, दैट इज़ वाई ये कंपनीज को वैल्यूएशन अच्छा मिल रहा है और ये कंपनीज को फंडिंग अच्छी मिल रही है. बट सवाल ये है कि क्या ये आगे भी कंटिन्यू होगा? विल दीज कंपनीज बी एबल टू सस्टेन एंड sustain this tempo going forward? Let us understand it. Will that really happen? Will that really happen? So the answer to this question is, will these companies continue with the same story? Will these companies continue to gain the same kind of valuations going forward? Continue to gain the same kind of equity participation going forward? The answer is yes, if they are able to maintain the story, and that is what is necessary, that is what is important. So what is the meaning of that? If these companies are able to maintain the story, the meaning is that these companies should continue to create value the way they are doing it today. That means these companies should be able to continue to provide ease and convenience to its end users. And if they are able to do that, the end user base is going to increase substantially, exponentially, if the service is really good. And that will ensure that these companies will be able to sustain whatever they are able to achieve today. If they do not continue with this story, they will be forced to shut shops and go home. Obviously, if the end user, if the story is not sustained, if the end user is not able to perceive value, if the end user is not perceiving the convenience and the ease of getting the service and the goods, then the companies obviously will have to shut shops and go home. How will these companies sustain if they keep on making losses? So the presumption is that today they are making losses. So presumption is if they keep on making losses, how will they sustain? So the answer is, of course, they may be making losses today, but it does not mean that they will continue to make losses forever. It's like this. Different products have different kinds of gestation. If you are setting a sugar plant, if you are setting a sugar factory, if you are setting up a refinery, if you are setting an automobile company, obviously those will have their own gestation periods. But if you are setting a fintech company, if you are setting a startup in IT, then they will have a different kind of gestation period. So at some point in time, the gestation period is going to get over. And the moment the gestation period is over, the revenue starts exceeding the expenses. And when the revenue starts exceeding the expenses, these companies start earning profit. And when they start earning profit, remember, then there is no going back. And why there is no going back? Because during the initial period, all these companies that we have spoken about, during the initial periods, these companies incur huge expenditure. Now, those expenditure, remember, may not be capital expenditure. That means those may not be really creating physical assets, but those expenditures are certainly creating intangibles. Intangibles in terms of template, intangible in terms of model, intangibles in terms of systems, in terms of network, the investment in terms of procedures, policies, market access, design and all that actually. So firstly, these companies will have to stop making losses and start making profit at the soonest that they will do. But gestation period is much longer for scaling the operations, which is understood. Now today, what these companies are doing, so if you look at all these companies, what they are banking on, they are banking on operating leverage. They are banking on operating leverage. So once they achieve the critical mass, now what, as I said earlier, what is going to happen? Fixed expenses are negligible. The only cost that they have is the operating cost, which is the variable cost. So once the fixed cost is negligible, so they do not have to really worry about the break-even point is going to slash dramatically, and the margins are going to be very, very attractive. And that is how these companies will be able to sustain and survive themselves. So all these companies, friends, will need to constantly work on their cost, keep on reducing the same by removing inefficiencies from their own systems, making use of economies of scale, and come out with add-ons to enhance perceived value. So what is the bottom line? The bottom line is, without cash profit, value creation, long-term survival of any business is impossible. So the bottom line is, the story is, the number may not be there. The story has to be there. The story has to be there, but the story has to be on a continuing basis. Story cannot be on a temporary basis. So the story has to be there for all times to come. So the service, the ease of business, the convenience, all these companies, they are able to provide today. If they continue to provide the same for all times to come also, they will certainly have the valuations always remaining high. And obviously, once you start incurring profit, once you start earning profit, you will definitely not required to make more investment. So if you're not required to make more investment, your equity funding requirements will also come down. So in that case, you would when you start earning profits, you would be able to start returning to the people who have given you the capital. So friends, this is all about the numbers, and all about my topic, that is, valuation is not about the numbers. Valuation is all about the story. Now, what message do I get from this? The message that I get from this is, if anyone has to become valuable, if anyone has to get good valuation, what anyone has to do is to become valuable, is to start creating value. So more value you create, more valuable you become. More valuable you become, more valuations you start getting. So friends, this is all that I had to share as far as this topic is concerned. I know it's Saturday, and I thought that instead of lengthening the discussion, I will finish it in 1 hour and then leave it to you. So in case if you have any question, I would be very happy to answer them. So thank you so much. Over to all of you.